The Herdmans were absolutely the worst kids in the history of the world. They sold lies and they smoked cigars and hit little kids and cussed at their teachers and set fire to Fred Shoemaker's old broken down tool house. They set fire to things all the time, but this was the first time they had ever burnt a whole building down. Everyone showed up to see what was going on. Someone even brought donuts for the firemen. Of course, the firemen never saw them. While they were busy putting out the flames, the Herdmans stuffed all the donuts in their mouths, their shirts, and any other place they could find. Things like this happened every day with the Herdmans. They were just so all-around awful you could hardly believe they were real. In their yard was the only place in town you could see a sign that said, "Beware of cat." The mailman told my father that he refused to deliver mail to their house anymore because of it. Mr. Herdman had left the town and abandoned the family years ago, and Mrs. Herdman worked a double shift at the shoe factory, so the kids pretty much looked after themselves. Ralph looked after Imogene looked after Leroy looked after Claude, and so on down the line. The Herdmans were like most big families. The big ones taught the little ones everything that they know. And proof of that was that the meanest Herdman of all was Gladys, the youngest. It seemed that they were all headed to hell by the way of the state penitentiary until they got mixed up with the Christmas pageant. Every year, Mrs. Armstrong was in charge of the Christmas pageant at our church, and every year it was pretty much the same. But in November, Mrs. Armstrong fell and broke her leg, so my mom got stuck with it.
I could run the potluck supper with one hand tied behind my back. All you have to do is make sure that everybody doesn't bring meatloaf. But I had to get stuck with the Christmas pageant.
Well, here's your big chance. Why don't you cancel the pageant and show movies instead?
Yeah, Mom, a movie would be a lot better than a play.
Movies of what?
I don't know. Fred Stamper has movies of Yellowstone National Park. You could show those.
Oh, brother. Never mind. I guess you all think you're pretty funny. I don't have any choice now that I'm in charge of it.
Do we have to be in it?
Of course you have to be in it. All the kids have to be in it.
Do I have to go watch it? Just kidding.
This is your big chance to be a director, Mom.
The Christmas pageant is a tradition. I don't plan to do anything different for what Mrs. Armstrong has done for years.
That was before the Herdmans showed up at Sunday school. Nobody ever thought about the Herdmans and the connection with the Christmas pageant. They had never stepped foot in a church. In fact, children actually looked forward to Sunday in church because they finally got a break from the Herdmans' beating. But that was about to change because of something that happened in the school cafeteria.
Hand over your lunch. That brownie you gave me yesterday was delicious. It's okay. I don't care. I get all the dessert I want at Sunday school. What kind of dessert? Well, chocolate cake, candy bars, and cookies, and Kool-Aid. We get all the refreshments we want. All the time. All the day. You're a liar.
And he was lying. The only treats they ever got at Sunday school were jelly beans at Easter and cookies and punch on Children's Day. As Charlie soon found out, that was the wrong thing to say to a Herdman. The very next Sunday, all 6 of them came slouching into Sunday school, eyes peeled for the refreshments. Just then, the minister, Reverend Hopkins, made an announcement.
We'll be starting rehearsals soon for the Christmas pageant. Next week after service, we'll gather in the back of the church to decide who will play the main roles. We want every boy and girl in our Sunday school to take part in the pageant, so be sure your parents know that you'll be staying a little later next Sunday.
I hope you're going to be in the angel choir again, Beth. You're so good in the angel choir.
What she means is she hopes that you're not married because Mom runs the pageant.
I don't care if Alice is married again this year. I don't even want to be in the angel choir. But everyone has to have a part in the pageant.
Hey, what's the pageant?
It's a play.
What's it about?
It's about Jesus.
Everything here is.
Everyone assumed that that would be the last they would see of the Herdmans at Sunday school, but they were wrong. The next Sunday, Mom was getting ready for all the children to arrive, so she could assign parts for the Christmas pageant. As she looked over her list, the phone rang.
Hello, Helen. How's your leg feeling?
I'm not worried about my leg. I'm worried about the pageant. It's important to give everyone the opportunity and a chance.
All right, Helen.
Here's what I do. I get them all together and tell them about rehearsals and that they must be on time and pay close attention. Tell them that the main parts are Mary and Joseph and the wise men and the angel. And I always remind them that there are no small parts, only small actors.
Do they understand what that means?
It doesn't matter. Now I always start with Mary. I tell them we must choose our Mary carefully because Mary was the mother of Jesus. I tell them that our Mary should be cheerful, happy little girl who's unselfish and kind to others.
Okay, Helen.
Then I tell them about Joseph, that he was God's choice to be the father of Jesus. He should be quiet, kind little boy who...
Helen, I have to go. The children are here. Good morning, boys and girls. This isn't going to take very long. We'll have our rehearsals on Wednesdays at 6:30. We're only going to have 5 rehearsals, so please try to be here for every one of them. Now, you younger children will be our angels. You'll like that, won't you? You older boys and girls will be shepherds and guests at the inn and members of the choir. And we need a Mary and Joseph, the wise men, and the angel. They aren't hard parts, but they're very important parts. So those people must absolutely come to every rehearsal.
Will they get sick?
They won't get sick. Now, I know a lot of you girls would like to be Mary in our pageant, but we can only have one. The girl we choose should be quiet and gentle and kind like the real Mary was. Now, who would like to volunteer? Do you have a question, Imogene?
No, I want to be Mary, and Ralph wants to be Joseph.
Yeah, I want to be Joseph.
Well, we want to be sure everyone has a chance. Does anyone else want to volunteer for Joseph? All right, Ralph will be our Joseph. Now, who else wants to volunteer for Mary? Beth? Alice, you always make a lovely Mary. Don't you want to volunteer this year?
No, I don't want to.
Well then, I guess Imogene will be our Mary. Who would like to be the wise men? Anyone else? All right, we have all the roles filled except for the angel.
What does the angel do?
The angel was the one who brought the good news to the shepherds.
I'll be the angel.
I don't want to be a shepherd. Gladys hits too hard.
Gladys isn't going to hit anyone. The angel just visits the shepherds in the field and tells them that Jesus was born. I don't want to hear another word about it. Now, I'll see you all next week for rehearsal.
I can't believe you didn't volunteer to be Mary. You do it every year. Why didn't you raise your hand?
I was going to, but Imogene told me that she would stick a willow bush down my ear where nobody could reach it. She said it would sprout, and once it started growing, no one could do anything about it, and I'd live the rest of my life with the willow bush growing out of my ear.
She wouldn't really do that.
The Hermans will do anything. Your mother shouldn't have let them join the pageant. They'll do something terrible and ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, but she wouldn't stick a willow bush. I'll bet my mom wishes she was the one with her leg broken.
A few days later, it was time for the first rehearsal. All the children were gathered except for the herdmans, who were nowhere in sight. Just before they got started, Mrs. Armstrong called, as usual, to give some last-minute instructions.
I feel personally responsible for this. If I had been up and around and doing my duty, this never would have happened.
Well, they raised their hands and nobody else did, and that's that. Now, I'm going to make this the best Christmas pageant anybody has ever seen, herdmans and all. Now, I have to get back into the classroom. Goodbye, Helen. Oh, it looks like we're missing some of our actors. Oh, here they come. It's so nice to have you all here. Now, Shepherd, I need you to come over here.
Who are the shepherds? Where did they come from? What is a shepherd anyway? What is the inn? What is an inn?
It's like a hotel where the people spend the night.
What people? Jesus?
Oh, honestly, Jesus wasn't even born yet. Mary and Joseph were there.
Why?
What happened first? Start at the beginning.
I can't believe they don't even know what the Christmas story is. Why would they? Their dad probably never taught them, and their mom works so much. And well, they've never stepped foot in a Sunday school till Charlie told them about the refreshments. So how would they know about the Christmas story?
Maybe we ought to just start from the beginning of the story so you can understand your parts a little better. Now, the Bible says, and all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child.
Pregnant!
And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn.
No room? Not even for Jesus?
Well, after all, nobody knew the baby was going to turn out to be Jesus.
You said Mary knew. Why didn't she tell them? What was that they laid the baby in? That manger? Is that like a bed? Why would they have a bed in a barn?
Well, that's just the point. They didn't have a bed in the barn, so Mary and Joseph had to use whatever there was. Now, what would you do if you had a brand new baby and didn't have any bed to put it in?
We put Gladys in a dresser drawer.
And Mary and Joseph used the manger. A manger is a feeding trough for animals.
What were the wadded up clothes?
The what?
You said she wrapped him in wadded up clothes.
No, swaddling clothes. Long ago, people used to wrap their babies very tightly in a piece of material so they'd feel warm and cozy.
You mean they tied him up and put him in a feed box? Where were Child Protective Services?
And there came wise men from the east.
What do wise men do? Are they like some kind of school teacher?
No, dumbbell, it's like President of the United States.
That's very close, Claude. Actually, they were kings.
That's about time.
Yeah, maybe they'll tell the innkeeper where to get off and get the baby out of the barn.
The wise men saw the young child and fell down and worshipped him and presented him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
What's that stuff?
Precious oils and fragrant resins.
Oil? What kind of a cheap king hands out oil for a present?
Oh dear, we're out of time. Well, everyone go ahead and go home.
I think Joseph should have burned down the inn.
I think he just chased him away.
The Herdmans came on time for every rehearsal for the next 5 weeks. They were still Herdmans and had plenty of trouble still following them. They didn't even make it to the end of the dress rehearsal night. The baby angels forgot their wings, and the shepherds were so afraid of Gladys, the angel of the Lord, that they wouldn't come on stage at all. But they did finally manage to get to the wise men's part.
I've got the baby here. Don't touch him. I named him Jesus.
Imogene, remember, you don't say anything.
I think I ought to tell them what the baby's name is.
No, besides, Mary wasn't the one who named the baby Jesus.
Ha! I told you. I named him.
No, Joseph didn't name the baby either. God sent an angel to tell Mary what the baby's name would be.
I want to name him Bill.
Why didn't they let Mary name her own baby? Did the angel just walk up and say, name him Jesus?
I know what the angel said. He said, his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, and Prince of Peace.
Are you kidding me? He'd never get out of first grade if he had to learn to write that.
Okay, everybody, let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break.
They never did come back from that 5-minute break. As the kids started milling around, they didn't notice that the herdmans had slipped out and were eating the cookies that the church ladies had put out for tomorrow's potluck. Imogene headed to the bathroom to smoke a cigar in one of the stalls. One of the church ladies, seeing the smoke, called the fire department.
Mio Ma! I saw some smoke in the ladies' restroom!
There's no fire in there, and only a cigarette butt. But we did find smoke in your kitchen. It seems your applesauce cake was burning in the oven.
I heard sirens. What's going on here?
Just a false alarm, Reverend. No need to worry.
The whole church is in an uproar. Do you think we should cancel the pageant?
Absolutely not. This is going to be the best Christmas pageant ever.
That was the biggest lie my mom had ever told. She was sure it would be a disaster.
I'm just afraid no one will come.
Reverend Hopkins was wrong. Everybody came to see what the herdmans would do.
I hate not being able to be there for the pageant. I know you're trying, dear, but I'm sure it would run more smoothly if I would have been there. I've had years of experience after all.
I'm sure we'll manage without you, Helen. I have to go. That woman.
It will be fine. When we're done, we'll go and get some hamburgers.
I might want to go someplace and hide. This may be the first Christmas pageant in history where Joseph and the wise men get in a fight and Mary runs away with the baby.
Where are they? Mary and Joseph are supposed to be here by now.
I knew something like this would happen. They didn't even show up. Now what are we supposed to do?
The herdmans finally did come in, looking a little overwhelmed and bewildered. I guess they never seen the church like this before. Lit up, full of people and all. This was just the way it must have been for the real Holy Family. Stuck in their barn because nobody knew who they were. They probably looked a lot like Imogene and Ralph. After all, they'd been traveling on a donkey for a long time. And Mary's veil was probably a little cockeyed and dirty. But look at how she's holding the baby. She just burped the baby Jesus. I never thought about him being fussy like a real baby. But that's the whole point, Jesus, isn't it? He didn't come on a cloud or a chariot. He was born and lived. He was real.
Maybe. Oh, honestly, look at the angel.
Hey, unto you a child is born.
What are the wise men carrying? Well, whatever it is, it looks heavy.
Oh heavens, they're supposed to be bringing gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They're carrying a ham. I bet they stole it.
They did not. It came from the Christmas food basket the church gave them. My dad helped deliver it. It still has the red ribbon wrapped around it. That's their own ham they're giving away.
I've never seen the herdmans give anything to anyone, except a black eye.
They're not supposed to sit down. They're supposed to leave.
Well, it makes perfect sense that they would sit and rest. They've traveled a long way after all. You wouldn't expect them to just show up, hand over the ham, and then leave, would you?
They're ruining the whole pageant.
No one else seemed to think the herdmans ruined the pageant. It seemed like they'd improved it a lot, actually, by doing what just came naturally, like burping the baby or thinking ham would make a better present than some perfume oils. But everyone was surprised to see Imogene Herdman doing something they had never seen before. She knelt before the manger. She was crying. It was as if she had just caught onto the idea of God and the wonder of Christmas. The funny thing about it was, for all the years we thought about the wonders of Christmas and the mystery of Jesus' birth, and never really understood it. But now, because of the Herdmans, it didn't seem so mysterious after all. It was about a new baby, and his mother and father, who were in a lot of trouble. No money, no place to go, no doctor. Nobody knew them. And then some rich friends arriving from the east, just like your uncle from New Jersey. The Herdmans wouldn't take back the ham, and they wouldn't take the treats and candy canes either. All they asked for was a picture of Mary, all neat, clean, and angelic, from the packet of Bible story pictures. None of us would ever see Mary like that picture again, though, or any of the Christmas story, really. Mary always looked a lot like Imogene Herdman, sort of nervous and bewildered, but ready to clobber anybody who laid a hand on her baby. And the wise men are always going to be Leroy and his brothers, bearing ham. And the angel of the Lord will be little Gladys, with her skinny legs and her dirty sneakers sticking out from under her robe, yelling at all of us everywhere, "Hey, unto you a child is born."
Chloe Allen, age 13.
Lily Virginia Allen, age 12.
Brigham David Allen, age 11.
Cannon Gregory Allen, age 9.
Henry Stillman Allen, age 5. Izzy Abigail Allen, age 3.
Julie Rose Allen, age 38.
Stanton Cannon Allen, age 42.